Sensorimotor OCD nearly completely ruined my life, but this one tip helped me to start living my life again and gave me back my freedom. If you find this podcast helpful, it would be amazing if you could subscribe. It really does help other people who might be struggling with sensorimotor OCD to find the right kind of support. When I was 18 and I first started to experience sensorimotor OCD, I was doing all of the wrong things. I was trying to kind of fight with it. I was telling myself that once I can get rid of this awareness, well, then I can be happy. Then I can start living my life. Then I can start doing all the things that I've been waiting for. But of course, that kind of moment never came in a way. I was kind of focused on dealing with the sensorimotor in the wrong way. I think so often we get fixated on trying to fix the problem, looking for that kind of perfect solution. And, there are things out there, and obviously I'm going to be talking about one of them today that really helped me to change my relationship with this awful subtype of OCD. But it wasn't about fixing myself. I wasn't actually broken, although I really felt like I was. What I was doing is I was fighting with an awareness of something that I didn't need to fight with. Yes, I didn't want to be aware of the mouth, aware of swallowing, aware of the breath sometimes. But I was really stuck on those things, and it was incredibly difficult. I didn't want to be aware of these things. I really wanted to just feel free and to not have to kind of think of these things at all. But of course, that attitude, having that perspective about this uncomfortable awareness of these things, was actually just making it much, much worse. And when I started to learn about exposure, I think something really, really helped me to realize that I didn't have to do this anymore. And so the one tip that I'm going to really talk about today is the importance of moving towards the uncomfortable sensations. For me, this really looked like actually trying to feel the mouth, feel the tongue, feel swallowing. For years, I'd been doing anything but. I'd been trying to push all of those sensations away. And I was getting incredibly angry with myself for being stuck with this. I was telling myself that, I was a weak person because I was stuck with this, that, other people don't struggle with such bizarre things. So why was I here struggling with this bizarre awareness of these things? Why am I getting anxious about swallowing or the mouth or the breath? And I was really judging myself, really beating myself up for it. And it was making it worse and worse. But when I started to actually, try to feel those things instead, to try to move towards them, to even meditate on them, that's when, they actually began to kind of move along. So for example, the worst sensorimotor OCD that I struggled with was to do with the mouth, sensations of, the teeth in the mouth, the tongue, saliva, swallowing, just a general discomfort around the mouth, and feeling that I couldn't move my awareness, to other parts of the body, or I could, but I would always be, much more aware of this. And it was so difficult, so frustrating to deal with. But when I actually learned that I could, on purpose, pay attention to that area, and meditate on it. So I started to meditate on a regular basis. Every day, I would sit down for about 10 minutes. I would close my eyes. I would always do this when I was at home, when I was somewhere safe. But I would close my eyes and I would really focus in on the feelings there. I would try to experience them more. I would try to feel the energy that was there, because anxiety is like a kind of energy in the body. When we really pay attention to it, we begin to notice little changes in it. We may even begin to notice little movements in those sensations. And awareness is just a kind of form of anxiety. We've associated the awareness of the sensorimotor themes with anxiety. But when we actually choose to move towards those things because we want to, because we're kind of telling ourselves, well, I want to feel this, you know what? I'm not going to just distract myself from it every time I feel it. I'm not going to push it away anymore. Instead of just pushing it away and fighting with it all the time, I'm going to actually try to feel it more. I'm going to try to be interested in it. And by doing that, the awareness began to change. It didn't happen straight away, but by actually practicing this each day for a few days, I began to notice that more and more the awareness was shifting. It wasn't quite so frustrating. It wasn't quite so difficult. I was able to focus on other things more often. The intensity of the energy there in the mouth, it really kind of reduced. And I think when we try to actually approach these things rather than resisting them all the time, well, the energy that is there is able to kind of move a little bit. And it's really the resistance is the big problem here with sensorimotor OCD. We're telling ourselves that the awareness is a problem, that as long as we're aware of it, then we're going to feel unhappy or stressed or anxious, and we're not going to be able to live our lives. And so we keep on resisting it. But when you actually approach it and you try to feel it more, well, now you're developing a different relationship with this awareness. You're not resisting it so much. And I think over time, as you keep on practicing this, over weeks and months, well, you really start to begin to change your relationship with that thing. And, learning about this, many years ago now, when I first started to learn about exposure, acceptance commitment therapy, about meditation, all of these things, when I really started to realize that, it was me resisting all the time that was making this worse, and that if I try to feel it more, maybe that would change it. Well, at first I thought, not so sure that makes sense. Why would I want to feel this more? I'm trying to do everything I can to not feel that thing. But actually, as I started to practice it, I started to see the evidence for myself, and it really did begin to work. And, these days, it's not something that really bothers me anymore. So many thanks, guys. I really hope that you found that helpful. If you have any questions at all, do please let me know. And I offer a free discovery call. To get that, you can head over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes. This video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you are dealing with OCD, anxiety, or any mental health concerns, please consult a licensed mental health professional for support.